Toys R Us is dying. Toys R Us is closing. Okay, so Toys R Us is running out of business because, well, a big number of factors. Smarter people have made videos on it, but not only have they had competition from online like Amazon, not only have they had competition from pretty aggressive competition actually from box stores like Target and Walmart in setting the prices to undercut Toys R Us, but they also had a leveraged buyout, I believe, where a company purchases them and then takes out a bunch of loans in order to pay for that purchase. So they had a lot of debt, and they took on a lot of debt at a very bad time in the late mid 2000s. You know, right before the big recession and all that sort of stuff. So they had a bunch of debt and they couldn't pay it off, and it was getting pretty bad. It's the same thing that happened to iHeartRadio recently. You probably shouldn't take on a bunch of debt in order to buy something if it's not a super secure bet that it's going to make a ton of money. Because Toys R Us wasn't doing nearly as bad as you'd think. It was the debt that was the big killer. But that's not what I'm talking about today. Today I'm talking about my memories of Toys R Us and me attempting to get stuff on sale at Toys R Us and failing in recent weeks. So, I was born in San Antonio. The first Toys R Us I remember was just this big, what felt like a super long store with like a double stack of aisles and a bathroom on the right and just really long straight aisles for whatever reason. And the video game sections was I remember playing the Super Nintendo there, the demo thing, and it had like little slips because it wasn't behind a case. They didn't have video game cases there at all. It was just little slips of like, this is how much the price was and whatever, and then you'd go and I think you'd take that slip and they'd give you the video game. That's what I remember. Who knows if it's accurate? Now, we didn't have a Toys R Us when I moved to Indiana. Bloomington was not a big enough town for a Toys R Us. So Toys R Us at that point meant to me we were probably in Indianapolis and stopped somewhere in the southern suburbs to visit the Toys R Us and probably not buy anything and then go back on home. In recent years, Toys R Us has meant, hey, they got Lego sales, but yeah, all this stuff's pretty expensive, so why would I buy it here? They priced match pretty good, so you could use a competing store's price in order to get a good Lego at a decent price. And they had a good selection, so it's good to find Legos there. Now, since they have gone out of business, or had their going out of business sales, we've been stopping by there in order to see what their Lego prices are, and we've been wildly disappointed. Pretty much they start off at a 10% sale for a lot of things, which when you sell stuff at too high a price anyway, that 10% doesn't really matter. Now the Legos start off at 5%. So we walked in and went, there's no way we are paying this much for these Legos. 5% is not a sale. I thought you guys were going out of business and were concerned about rent and electric bills and stuff like that. Every time we've been back since, it's still been that 10/5% sale, which is ridiculous. I've heard some Toys R Us's are selling out of stuff really quickly at that crappy ass sale. In our town, not quite as much. I think people still see it as too expensive and they've been like, why am I going to do this? I'm going to check today to see if they're finally a little bit less, but it's hilarious to me that Toys R Us is going out of business and they can't seem to find it within themselves to go out of business fast enough. Maybe that's part of having to deal with their vendors and the people that supply them toys and stuff like that, so they can't sell it at quite as low a sale. But like, doesn't that speak to the state of Toys R Us when people are in the Toys R Us and buying stuff before Easter because it's before Easter and because they don't want to deal with the online stuff? And people my age are walking around the Toys R Us with their phones going, I can buy this thing that's on sale at Toys R Us for Amazon for $10 cheaper than what it's selling for right now. That does kind of explain why Toys R Us was in the state it's in. Now, part of Toys R Us might survive in Canada. If you're watching this video a year from now, you'll probably know the answer to the Toys R Us question, but go ahead and list your Toys R Us memories. At one point, it may have been a cool thing to go to, the toy store, and I'd say in the past 15 years, it's just been the expensive toy store that we didn't go to. So let me know if it was the same for you.